Så, nu sitter vi här i backstageområdet med Peter och Danny. Peter är inte med i, i Thunder, men det är den här mannen. Welcome to Sweden and thanks for a great show. As usual, it's always good when Thunder are playing.
Yes. One part of the case, but it's a big yes.
Yes. We just discussed the Christmas shows. Could you just do a short brief what we said about it, because we were really thrilled about the idea that you had about the Christmas shows that he didn't get any tickets from. So
The Christmas shows, it's a very different show to anything else we do. We usually split it into two halves, no support band. We play 2 1-hour sets. First half, we sit down, play acoustic. Our songs, covers, very different. And then the second half, after we go off and have a drink, we come back on and we do electric. Everybody jumps up and down.
Okay.
So, but it's a very different show than a normal show. And it seems to be very popular. Fans love it.
What do you say, Peter? You want to go?
Yes, I will.
Yeah. Did you have any good questions?
Yes, I do have good, very good.
Otherwise you will be thrown out.
Yes. Probably gonna be thrown out anyway.
No.
Just a bit, one question divided in three. You released 11 albums, studio albums now.
Yeah.
Which one of those was the most enjoyable to you?
Which one was the most enjoyable? I think they've all been good, but I think it would be very hard to match the first one, because the first one was like a release.
Yeah.
You know, we'd been in another band before, and we'd made loads of mistakes with that band. And when we started Thunder, we decided and we promised ourselves that if we got another chance with another band to make another record, we would enjoy it very much.
Yes.
And Ben, actually, the guitar player from the band, his quote, I think, is probably the best one. He said, making that record, it was more like a party where an album broke out. We had a great time. I can't go into the details because some of it's quite sordid, but it was fantastic. We had a very, very good time.
Yeah. But then you did the hard follow-up album.
Yeah.
It's always hard to do a follow-up album to a success first album, isn't it?
Well, I don't think we ever really saw it like it was hard. We've always just worked on the assumption that if we can write music that we think is good and we can have a nice time making it, hopefully people who like our band will like it too.
Yeah.
So we don't really put an enormous amount of pressure on ourselves to deliver something special. We just have to please ourselves first.
Yeah.
As long as we've done that, then we hope that the fans will buy it.
If you look back in the mirror, when you were on the huge label or a major label like EMI,
Yeah.
was it a big difference to work with them? Were there more pressure on you to produce hit songs? That is, or
I think there's probably always going to be a slight pressure from a major label, because they only really know one way to work. But as the years have gone by, what we've done is we've built a very loyal fan base. We're very lucky to have fans all over the place who love what we do.
yeah,
So we know that we don't want to take advantage of that or take it for granted, but we know there is a core audience for us, for what we do, which means that we can rely on that, and it enables us to be able to do things with confidence. I think that's something that you earn over, a long career. I mean, this band's been going nearly 28 years.
yes.
So in that time, you have to learn some things, and you get confident at what you do. And I think that gives you the ability to make decisions with a label rather than being told by a label. And I think that we're very lucky now, having run our own label for 6-7 years. We're now with another label who are incredibly supportive.
Yeah, they are.
And they want to help. So it's great.
And they also think very physical with the nice packages and everything that fans like.
That's something that we've always been very determined to do. When we formed our own label, the first thing I said to the other guys in the band was, if we can think it, we can do it. But just because we can think it and we can do it doesn't mean we should. So it's really important that whatever we give to the fans is as good as it can be. Very important that we look after them with good products and good packaging and nice photographs and all of that stuff. We want to make that as good as we can because I think it's very competitive now. There's a lot of competition for people with money. Phones, internet, Netflix, TV, paid TV packages. It wasn't like that years ago, but it is now. And music seems to be maybe not quite as important to everyone in the same way as it used to be. So I think it's really important that you provide as much value, you wrap around that as you can to make sure that people get very excited when they get it.
Yeah. That's true. Peter?
Yes. The second one. I went through the whole, the lot of Luke writes most songs.
Yes.
Except for a few. And the one I'm aiming at is when you and Harry and Ben wrote Moment of Truth.
Sure.
Are there going to be any more of that?
I don't see why we wouldn't do it.
Yes.
I think it's I think Luke is naturally much more able to do that. For us, it's more of we're less creative. I think as writers, I think we've written some stuff over the years, and it's very hit and miss. So you can't rely on what we would create. Whereas with Luke, he goes at it like a job.
Yeah.
He's kind of driven to write songs. He's very good at it. The problem I have is every time I try to write anything, I think that's nowhere near as good as what Luke can do. So I'm always judging it. That's a hard thing to do.
But it's a good song. It's one of the best on the album.
It's a nice song,
Including Everybody Wants to cover.
Yes.
Everybody cover.
Yeah, we're all involved in that.
Yeah. And Paul and Shane on the
with Michael.
Yeah, with Michael, yes. It's a good song.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do my best.
Have you considered doing any solo stuff?
There's been talk of it a couple of times. I think EMI wanted to do a solo album when we left EMI in '95. Then the guy who ran the label got fired. And so I spent the next 3 years trying to motivate EMI into doing it. And in the end I gave up. Then I was going to make an album with someone else, but I ended up making an album with Luke. In fact, 2 albums. And now there is talk of maybe doing another one, maybe next year. But the trouble is, we're so busy what we do with Thunder, I just don't know how we would put the time in, find the time to put it together. But if the time's right, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. I'd love to do it.
What is it going to be in another musical direction, or?
I would imagine it would be a waste of time to make a Thunder Light record.
No, but is it going to be?
No good. I would have to do something slightly different. Maybe slightly more soul-oriented.
I should say so, because your voice is much suited for it.
Yeah, well, I'm a blues soul singer, really.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I've never really been particularly interested in heavy metal. It doesn't really do anything for me. Music for me is about feel. It's how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
Whether that makes you want to dance or sing or cry, it's an emotional response. So I always want to feel that way when I sing a song.
Yeah.
Luke's very good at doing that, writing those kinds of songs. But I would need to do something a little less like Thunder, more maybe something just a little bit more emotional. Maybe more towards the Rolling Stones, or something like that. Something bluesy.
Peter?
And now, part of the covers. Who decides? You the band, or the label, or what decides for the cover of the album?
Oh no, it's always us.
It's always it.
Always us. Yeah. We never allow the record label to interfere. I'll tell you an interesting story. When we did the Laughing on Judgment Day album, We were on a plane coming home from America. I had a Rolling Stone magazine, best 100 covers of all time, looking through this. And we realised that a man called Storm Thorgerson had made so many of our favourite covers. And I said to Luke, we should get that guy to do our next cover. We love his work. So it was very hard to meet him, but we got to meet him. And we got on very well. He came up with a whole bunch of ideas, rough designs for us to look at. And while we were making the record, he delivered them all to the studio and stood them all up against the wall. And every day we would come in after breakfast or before we went to work and just look at all the covers. No decision, just looking. And then after about 2 weeks, we made the decision that we liked the one that was the cover.
Yeah.
That's the one we liked. We all liked it together, that's the one. And we told the record label, and they hated it. Absolutely hated it.
It's nice.
So we said, well, we have a problem because we love it.
I love it too.
And
The Kessler, what was the name?
yeah, it's like a totem pole.
Yeah.
With that kind of rows of teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very surreal. But they hated it and we loved it, and we had a fairly short argument. And at the end we said, well, we love it, so that's what we're going to have. And in the end, they gave in. And you know what's something else? That album won loads of awards.
Yes.
The album cover, loads of awards. And we've never really been interested. We need to know that what we want to put across is in keeping with the mood of the record, with the mood of the songs and what we're trying to portray. So they're very much always our ideas. Yeah. I mean, we get a label to help, but it's always our ideas.
You were speaking about the US, by the way. There is a country that you've not been breaking. It's the America, and as you are a melodic rock-driven band, and there is a lot of UK bands like FM and other bands that try to break over there as well.
Yeah.
What do you think is the main reason for it? Is it?
I think our timing was unfortunate. I think in the beginning, when we started our band, we released the first album. The label hated the band, but because we had a deal with EMI, we had to release on Capitol in America, which is part of EMI.
Yeah.
So we found out that they hated the band, so we found another label, and we did a deal with them, got EMI to release us from that deal, and we signed to Geffen in America. And at that time, Geffen had Whitesnake, Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, all these bands.
John Kalodner signed bands.
John Kalodner, and John Kalodner was a huge fan. He saw us when we played at Monsters of Rock in 1990. He was on Aerosmith's bus, heard us on the radio, and we got the call, and we went to LA, and we met with John Kalodner, and he signed the band. We got off of EMI, or off of Capitol, onto Geffen, and we re-released the first album with a different cover, and we made a video with Pamela Anderson in the video. Very curious. And that song went #1 Dial MTV for 6 weeks. Huge, huge, huge success. And we thought, this is it. We're going to America. This is going to be great. We're going to go to America. And we were all booked to play a tour with David Lee Roth and Cinderella. 3 months. Huge venues. 1991. Never forget it. And we're thinking, this is good. Shipped our equipment, shipped our bicycles, shipped everything. And the week before the tour, our manager called and said, you need to unpack. And we said, what do you mean? He said, nobody cares about this kind of music anymore. It's all about Nirvana.
Yeah. Seattle called.
They're just playing that stuff on the radio now, and they're not playing your music anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
This tour is going to close inside of a week.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go ahead and do the tour, you may get the nickname of the house band on the Titanic. So we just thought, shit, what are we going to do now?
Yeah, that's right.
So we went to Canada, and we played in Canada instead. and then we went back to America at the end and just played maybe 5 or 6 club shows. We were booked to play for a magazine. They had a big party, and we said we'll still go and do that anyway. So we played 5 or 6 club shows, and those shows were incredible. We had the entire audience in the dressing room every night saying, "Who are you guys? Where can I buy your record?" And at this point, we are sitting with our head in our hand thinking, and the record label thinks no one cares.
Frustrating.
It was just very frustrating. Yeah. The irony of the situation was not lost on us. It was very, very unpleasant, and we never really got another chance.
No.
You know, after that, the grunge thing really kicked in.
Yeah.
The next album was released, but the record company didn't really care very much.
Yeah.
We even made the 3rd album in America in an attempt to be close to the label, to get them all excited, but it still didn't make any difference. So it's just one of those things, you know, it is a source of great frustration, and we've never given up hope, but it's a big country,
Yeah.
and you do need a lot of money spent
Yeah.
to create a campaign that's going to make a difference there. So, you know, we're going to play a cruise coming out of Miami in February
Yeah, this
for the first time ever. So, you know, who knows? Who knows how all that will go? We'll see. But, you know, yeah, it does make me cry when I think about it.
the grunge destroyed us.
Yeah, I always say the same thing. If I ever get to meet Kurt Cobain, I'll kill him.
Too late.
Okay, Peter, do you have anything else to add?
Going back to the new one, the new album, there's particularly one song that I do like, which involved you and Harry in the intro, and Ben on piano. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's Always a Loser.
yeah,
That's a great one.
yeah, great tune.
Why don't you release that as a single?
Well, we may do that. We may well do that. Yeah, there is talk of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we've done recently, I've never told anybody it before now, so you're going to get the exclusive, Peter.
Thank you.
We've just recorded a song that Luke wrote 3 years ago. It's a Christmas song,
Okay.
and it's almost a shame it's a Christmas song because it's a great song. But when you put some Christmas into the title, you know, everybody thinks it's a joke.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
Yeah.
We've recorded that, and we've also re-recorded Love Walked In.
Oh, thank you very much.
But we've re-recorded it as a piano song.
Oh,
So it's a piano, very gentle. It's got recorders on it, all kinds of stuff. It's very, very different, and we are very excited about the way this one has turned out. So we're thinking maybe of making a whole album that way next year, maybe. It's a very interesting development. So that's we only did that last week or the week before, and it's turned out very well. So now we're just kind of cooking ideas up all the time for what we can do.
That's
Revisit all the old tunes. Maybe we could do a version of There's Always a Loser, different kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's all kinds of ways we could look at the tunes.
Great idea.
No, we'll see. Well, it's not a new idea, but it's something that we've resisted until now. We feel like it's a good time to do it.
it was a bit like when you redone Like a Satellite.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we've done a lot of different versions of a lot of our songs, especially at Christmas time,
Yeah.
in Christmas shows, where we break the whole thing down and then build it back up again in a different way. So we're very used to doing that, but we've always done it in a way that worked live. What we want to do now is to do it in a way where we don't have to worry about playing it live. So we might have different musicians, maybe strings, maybe brass, maybe all kinds of stuff. But we're just going to turn all the songs on their heads, take them to pieces, and then put it back together again in a very different way. So it will still be us, you know, still going to be me singing it, still the band playing it. But we just want to kind of experiment a little bit, see what we can do. I think it'll be interesting. Certainly the Love Walked In experiment
That's
worked
my
very
favourite.
well. Yeah, it's good.
Never heard it live though.
Never heard it live?
No.
My God.
Because you always change the set to the day, the next day.
You've been
Always.
very unlucky, Peter.
Yeah.
We've played that song hundreds and hundreds
Yes,
of times.
never heard it live.
I don't know what to say to you.
Yeah.
I'm deeply sorry.
No, so am I. It's a good song.
Sing it for Peter now. No.
Yeah, no. I asked you when you was, I can't remember, many years ago. You played CC Top at Stockholm Ice Stadium.
Yes.
And I went in and asked you, why don't you play God Walked In? We played it yesterday. On every show in Sweden.
Yeah.
So we played it yesterday.
And we didn't play it the night you were there.
No. And you know
It's not a personal thing, Peter. We
No.
didn't do it to
I
upset you.
think it is.
Peter is in the audience. Don't play it.
Scrap that. Scrap that song. Peter's in the audience. Yeah. No, that wasn't the case. Trust me, it wasn't.
He's lying, it was.
It's always that. All right, I think we should go. Actually,
Yeah.
this is really, really nice. So
I'm sorry, I peeked in the box. The set list. Do you mind?
Oh, you did.
Do you mind?
Go for it. Oh, you saw the one over there?
Yes. A sneaky bastard.
Go for it.
okay, thanks a lot, man.
No problem. You're welcome. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming.